Hi everyone, it's Dr. B from Bellissima Dental Boutique, and today we're going to be talking about the dreaded tooth fracture. So there's several different types of chips and fractures you can have in your teeth. You can have a minor chip, you can have a moderate fracture, or you can have a severe fracture. We're going to get into some of the differences. So when you have a minor chip, for example, that's like you're eating some ice that you should not do, and you chip a front tooth. It doesn't cause a whole lot of pain or sensitivity. It's just aggravating. Your tooth is jagged. It's not as straight. Aesthetically, it's not pleasing. Maybe your tongue is playing with that area. So the next fracture is going to be a moderate tooth fracture, which is a little bit more extensive than a minor crack in your tooth. So how do we get a moderate tooth fracture? It could be as simple as you have a tooth with a large restoration in it, you bite into some sort of nut, almond, and when you do so, that tooth breaks. Then it requires extensive dental work, such as a new filling or a crown. That's what I consider to be a moderate tooth fracture. You can have symptoms of sensitivity to hot and cold, sometimes a little bit of bleeding around the gum line. And a lot of times these moderate fractures can happen because we have untreated tooth decay underneath those large restorations, and that causes underlying weakened enamel, and that's how our tooth breaks. Last but not least is our severe tooth fractures. And those result usually from a traumatic event. So that means you're playing basketball with your friends and you get elbowed in the face. You're not wearing a mouth guard, wrestling, car accidents. And a lot of times those can result in severe tooth fractures, meaning that the tooth is like broken to the gum line. It means that maybe the root is fractured. And a lot of times for those, sometimes we can save them with a root canal and a crown. But a lot of times with severe tooth fractures, we're talking about extraction, we're talking about bone grafting, we're talking about implant placement to help restore your bite and your function and your smile. So those are the different types of tooth fractures. So what happens if you break your tooth? What are those next steps? The next steps, first of all, call your dentist, right? You want to rinse out your mouth with warm water. If you're bleeding, you want to hold gauze onto the site that is bleeding. You also want to try to preserve those tooth fragments if they're a tooth fragment. That's just going to help us when you come to the dentist's office and we're trying to repair the tooth. If we can use pieces of your own teeth, that's better for us. You want to put those fragments in milk if you can. And give us a call. Try to get to the dentist as soon as you can. You also want to maybe use a warm compress or an alternate with ice just to reduce any possible swelling that you may have. And if it's a time where the dentist office is closed, do those steps, take a Motrin or Tylenol, give us a call first thing in the morning so that we can definitely see you and get you treated and get you out of pain, back smiling and comfortable. So how can we prevent tooth fractures? One of the biggest things is coming in for routine dental care, right? So you want to come in for your cleanings, you want to have your exam and your x-rays, because when you have these moderate fractures where there's decay under restorations, that can be avoided. Let's go ahead, let's treat it. Let's say, hey, you have underlying weakened enamel, and that means that you are at risk for a possible tooth fracture. When you or your kids are playing sports, we want to make sure that you are wearing a mouth guard. That mouth guard, I understand that it may be bulky, it may be annoying, but it is going to protect your teeth and your smile. You also want to make sure that you are not eating foods that can chip or break your teeth. So we don't want you chewing on ice, hard candies, even nuts. You have to be careful of the things that you're chewing, you're eating, because it can create fractures. So if you do experience a tooth fracture or a dental emergency, please feel free to give Bellissima Dental Boutique a call at 910-778-1229 or make an appointment on our website at www.boutiquedentalandimplants.com.